Evening. Hello, hope everyone is great. We're going to give just a minute or so for people to join, and then we're going to dive in. So hello and welcome. Thanks for being here. Today is day 2 in a series of 3 videos where we're looking at transformation and what it is to really create meaningful and deep change in your life, and really understand what it is to witness that, to facilitate it, to have it be part of your experience. Hey, Caroline. So these will be on today for, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes, or a bit longer if people have questions. So, hey, Abby. Hey, Elizabeth. Thank y'all for being here. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, feel free to ask in the comments box. If you're watching the replay, still ask away, comment, but just tag me to make sure that I see it. Hey, Tracy. So yeah, we're going to dive in just a minute. So if anybody has any insights or things that have come up or that you've noticed since last week when we first started to talk about the art of transformation, that would be great to share that. Hey, Allison. Feel free to share away. If you know you already have questions about tonight's topic, which is liberation of the body and mind, you can go ahead and put them in, or just see what comes up for you as we go through the live today. So my hope is that, this will be an opportunity for you to have some healing, some insight. We'll do a little bit of meditation, and hopefully it will set you up for a nice evening, if it's evening time with you, if it's afternoon or wherever you are, that you'll receive some healing so that you finish the day on a really healthy, positive, relaxed note. And especially with this working around liberation, that you're feeling lighter and calmer and more centered and much more present. That's the idea behind all of this. Hey, Emily and Jan, thanks for being here. So, let's dive in. So to start with, I want you to take a moment and think about the word liberation and what that means for you. The images that brings up the feelings, I don't know, any context or anything from your past that you connect that with. And if there's anything you want to share, then please feel free. But we're going to kind of break down this idea of liberation and what it means to liberate the body and the mind. Ways to do that. Says Tracy, still having bad migraines last few days. Been focusing on expanding my energy and accepting, and still really suffering. Yes. So, the word I would use maybe is surrender. That might be a good one to use instead of trying to expand or trying to force yourself to accept, which is what we can do sometimes, is to really look at what it is to surrender, just to lay down the protection, lay down the weapons, lay down the conflict, and not in a defeated way, because nobody wants to feel defeated, but in a way that is empowering because you are choosing not to fight or control or force or push or make things happen in that way. So Tracy, hopefully that feels useful. It feels like it's already kind of shifting some things. Yeah, and just allow yourself to go along with kind of the talk in this event today, and we'll check in on you towards the end as well and see how things are going. Hello, Mel and Ritzia and Dawn. Tracy, definitely liberation from being held back by my health. Yeah, that's a good one to focus on today. Hi, Joy. Hey, Allison. Thanks for joining. Thanks for sharing. So when you think about liberation, just see what comes up for you. And maybe also the question to ask for yourself is liberation from what? Hey, Beth. So whenever you are looking at liberation, there's always a feeling of being trapped or imprisoned by something. And so liberation indicates a part of you that feels like it's confined or like it's limited. So liberation always indicates from something that you are liberating yourself from. And this is really a self-liberation. We're going to do some healing as we go through today, but this is really about an opportunity for you to identify ways that you can liberate yourself through new choices, through new ways of thinking, through new ways of being. Yes, so it might be worth just asking yourself right now, just taking a breath and asking, what would you like to be liberated from? Just see what comes to mind. If anybody would like to share, then we will throw that into the intention pot and we'll do some healing with that too. What would you like to be liberated from? Right, so Mel is saying liberation has a real lightness to it, freedom, energy, and expansiveness. Yeah, that feels good. I'm on board with that. Yeah, if anybody else wants to add to that, then please do. Oh, Kristen, wanting some liberation from limiting beliefs. Absolutely. That's definitely going to tie in with the mind stuff we do today. And, we've just gone through, a good couple weeks there of eclipses, which really are liberating in many ways. They help to clear the space, to clear the obstacles, to clear the old identities and belief systems. So that we can reassess and identify what we want in moving forward. Mel saying from judgment for self and others, yeah, absolutely. And Dawn on interchange and holding myself back unnecessarily. Hallelujah, amen. That's really what it boils down to. Because ultimately, when we liberate ourselves, we are liberating ourselves, from our own confinement, our own judgments, our own fears. That is really what it boils down to. So we're going to do some work on that today. So we're going to talk a bit about the body and about the mind and ways that we can feel a bit trapped or caught within those elements, and what we can do, kind of why that happens, and what we can do to change it. So I think that what can happen for a lot of people is that we talk about the body and the mind, and there's a temptation as humans to want to dismiss the body, to want to dismiss the logical mind, to want to, be working on other things, be doing other things. But the reality is that, we're here to have a human experience, which means that we have a human body and that we have a mind, we have thoughts, we've got a logical, intelligent mind. And what you will find is that with the parts of you, and oftentimes people want to dismiss these aspects of themselves or bypass them or not connect with them because they feel like they're holding a lot of pain or limitation or old habits or patterns within them. But the reality is we don't have these experiences to dismiss ourselves. We don't have these experiences to dismiss what's happening on these levels. If you actually follow into the depths of what's going on, of what you're holding on to, of what you're creating, that's creating suffering or pain or fear, then it actually can become a path to liberation and a path to freedom and a path to love and a path to joy. So I'm not saying you need to create pain and suffering to get to joy. Quite the opposite. You can choose joy to create joy, and you can choose happiness to create happiness. But if there's a part of you that is still caught in these patterns of pain, that's caught in these old thoughts and belief systems of judgment, then you can work with that and go deeper into that to recognize the truths that are there within you. Yes. So, Emily, old behaviors on every level, absolutely. Allison, anxiety from previous employment arose today when in my new job. Oh, yeah, interesting. So that would definitely be good to go into tonight. First time in a while you felt like that, yeah. So Beth, liberation from trauma, other people's energy, lack of belief, and mistrust. Hello, I was about to say morning, Mandy, evening, Mandy. Mel, also from physical pain, lower back, left wrist, right foot. Very happy to be liberated from these. Awesome, perfect. So, so in terms of our amazing bodies and the ways they work, whatever physical pain, suffering, injury, wear and tear, whatever's going on in your body really is a reflection of some deeper emotional components and deeper emotional aspects. And you can think of the body as being like a feedback system and just trying to show you that deeper down on a more spiritual level or more emotional level that there are things that need to be addressed, that need to be looked at. And the body and the emotions try to do this in ways that it's usually more subtle at first, but then if we don't pay attention, if we don't listen, then it becomes louder, it becomes more serious, it becomes harder to ignore because they're trying to do their job. So, we've got these amazing feedback systems that are trying to help us out, that are trying to let us know whether we're in alignment with who we are and our calling and what we're here to do, or if we're out. And usually, we can notice it, we can feel it on some level. And I think a lot of people have gotten good over the years at, well, they've worked very hard to block a lot of that out, to try to block out the pain or the suffering, to try to ignore the little aches and pains and niggles in their bodies, to try to quieten down the emotions that are there, the thoughts that are there. But ultimately, whatever you ignore will persist. It will get louder. So running away and avoiding doesn't do anything except make things worse for you. And this ultimately is the cause of so much of our suffering, is a refusal to really listen, a refusal to really have a conversation with yourself and delve deeper into what's going on there. And we all do this to some degree on some level. Sometimes we wait for things to get really bad before we pay attention, but it does not have to be that way. So I'm going to encourage you, if there are things that feel subtle now is the time to deal with it, so that you don't get to a point where you're feeling trapped by your health or by issues with your body or by thoughts that you just can't seem to resolve or change or get rid of. Yeah, it's really fascinating stuff, Mel. Really interesting. And actually, if you start to have conversations with your body, which we'll do in a minute, you can get the answers to that. Your body, everything on some level. And your body will speak to you if you are willing to listen to it, if you're willing to hear it. And a lot of times that's where the fear is. We feel like we don't want to hear what it has to say. What can happen with our bodies and with the emotional components that are there is that there's usually one or two emotions that we really, or more than that we really hate to feel, that we really struggle with. And these are usually the ones that we keep going back to and going, why am I so angry all the time? Why am I so sad all the time? Why am I so ashamed all the time? And it's not that you are a bad person or doing something wrong. It's just that you're refusing to connect with the emotion and get the message from it. So as long as there is an emotion or quality there that is continuing on, you will, on some level, continue to create situations that will amplify that to get you to look at it. So if you have anger that you have not looked at and that you haven't dealt with, you'll keep creating situations to be angry so that you go and look at your anger and why you're really angry. And it's usually not about what you think it's about. It's usually something much deeper. But that current situation will help get you on the path to figuring out what it's really about. So take a moment and just breathe in, close your eyes, and I want you to just go into your body. And I want you to tune in to any emotions that are heavy emotions that are sitting there. And these are the emotions that you usually avoid, that you don't want to deal with, that you really struggle with. And I just want you to notice the emotions that are there, that you feel a bit stuck in, that you feel a bit trapped in. And just notice what's there now. I mean, by connecting with it, it may already start to shift. That's definitely possible. So just notice within your body, scan through your body, and just notice the emotions that you feel trapped in or stuck in. And if you want to share in the comments, please do. And I'll check through some of these real quick. Yeah, so Dawn, for panic attack years ago, because of not leaving an awful partner, yeah. So you were in that state of fear all the time, and that fear was saying, this is unhealthy. This is not good for me. Yeah, that was your body talking to you. Beth, what about if some of it's other people's pains and diseases that you're mimicking? Yes, so, okay, so this is where the healing world needs to change its language and the way it views this stuff. If I'm full of anger and I'm around an angry person, it will trigger my own anger because I'm seeing anger in them that I have within me. If I clear my anger, I can be around an angry person and I may pick up on their anger and notice it, but I won't be angry because there's nothing to trigger within me. So if you think of people as kind of being triggers or mirrors for you to notice what you're still hanging on to. I mean, they can also amplify all the really great stuff. So it's not that people are just around to piss you off so that you can recognize you're pissed off. But if you can recognize that, and especially if, you know, if you're with someone who's got like a stomach ache and 2 hours later your stomach is still hurting, that's your stuff. That's nothing to do with them. So a lot of the language in the healing world is that we absorb other people's energies, that we take on all this stuff. And it's not true. We don't. We can accept other people's opinions. We can accept other people's whatever. But we choose to accept it on some level. But we will not really be triggered by something unless there's something within us that matches it and that resonates with it. So if you feel really triggered around another person, if you notice that they're sad or upset or hurt or frustrated, and you start to feel those things in a big way, that's your own stuff that your attention is now being brought to so that you can deal with. So Tracy, 30 years of CFS, MA after childhood, where I learned my thoughts and emotions were annoying and made me unlovable. So I learned to ignore all of it. So it's a great time to unlearn that and know that it's all important. So that's great, Tracy. You've changed a lot that in the last 5 years, but still feeling stuck in fear of being unlovable. Yeah, that's just your stuff. That's what you can go into and change tonight. Yeah, and Dawn, the triggers is an eye opener once you start looking. Yeah, it's just about awareness. It's about creating an understanding of that. So let's talk a little bit about the mind and repetitive thoughts. And there's a lot of conflicting information about our thoughts and, again, whether they're somebody else's. And we do. You know, we're psychic, intuitive beings. We can pick up on other people's thoughts. And you can actually ask that question, is this my thought or is this somebody else's thoughts? But again, if it affects you, there's a resonance there. If it's something that keeps playing in your mind, there's a resonance there. If there's a thought that you keep having, then there's something to that. There's something that's being triggered in you for some awareness. So if you find you're always feeling stressed and thinking about the same things that could go wrong, that could be a problem, you know, whatever that is, then there's a deeper fear that's within you, and your thoughts are trying to figure that out. They're trying to reason through it. And, you know, we're these amazing, complex, layered beings, and we are always, on some level, trying to work through things and understand them. We're here to learn and understand, deepen our understanding of this experience and of ourselves as humans and as souls as well. So if you're finding your mind continually stuck in that loop or going back to something, there's something that it's trying to work out. Now, a lot of times with the mind, it's trying to be logical about things that are emotional or within the subconscious sphere that are not logical. So sometimes that's where we can have these clashes and where we can have these this discord and problems within us, is because we're trying to sort an emotional issue with a logical. And to be fair, you know, emotions have their own logic to them. There's a rhyme and a reason to all of that. But it feels like sometimes they don't quite speak the same languages, or it feels like they're speaking different languages, and that's where the communication is off. But the reality is that we can tune into all of this. We can create an awareness of all of this and start to change it. So the first thing I want to share is that there's got to be a willingness. There's got to be a willingness to understand. And if you are more invested in avoiding your stuff, if you're more invested in running away, if you're more invested in watching Netflix or scrolling on your phone, not that doing that occasionally is a terrible thing. There's a time and place for everything. But if you have a massive avoidance issue around sitting quietly with yourself and listening to what's going on within, this is why we struggle, is because we have stopped listening to ourselves, and we feel the silence, and we feel, well, the silence. We're trying to drown out our own inner knowledge and wisdom. We're trying to drown out our bodies and our minds, because we feel overwhelmed and exhausted, because we've drowned it out for so long, and now it's trying to get our attention. So those times where you just want to zone out, where you want to drink a whole bottle of wine, or you want to just watch Netflix for 7 days, or you just sit and are scrolling through Twitter for your whole life, these are the signs that you're avoiding. And sometimes it can be really subtle. Sometimes it can be much more loud and obvious. But it's good to start to pay attention to the ways that you avoid, the ways that you distract yourself, the ways you keep yourself busy. People who are really, really, really busy, working all the time, you can have all kinds of justifications about why you should be doing that, about how it should be that way. But ultimately, it will boil down to avoidance. People are avoiding their lives, they're avoiding themselves, they're trying to avoid the problems that are being created by the fact that they're not willing to sit and listen to the wisdom that's already within them. Does that resonate with anybody, or does anybody have any questions about that? Is that bringing up anything that anybody wants to share or ask about? Please feel free. I'm happy to hear from you. I can already feel this is triggering some stuff. I'm really glad. It's time to clear it, for sure. All right. So the reality is that, again, until you address something, until you understand it on some level, until you listen, it'll just keep repeating. So this is why we feel like we get caught in cycles. This is why we repeat stuff over and over and over and over again. And it's not because you're stupid. It's not because it's hard for you to learn. It's because you haven't taken the time to gain the awareness and to gain the understanding. So anything in your life that is circular, you just haven't learned yet. You haven't taken the time to create the awareness. So what if my mom and dad's feelings pain? Like I'm entangled in their, yeah, so that's the boundary issues, Beth. If you feel like you're entangled in their energy fields. And you learn to do this as a child. Yeah, for sure. That is definitely a common thing, because we want to belong, we want to fit in, we want to be able to feel and sense what's going on so that we know what's happening. So the work for you is to set some boundaries emotionally and energetically so that you can be your own person without having to get caught up in their stuff. They can have their stuff, they can have their experiences, they can have whatever it is that they're wanting to have. But you don't have to be caught up in that. You don't have to get involved in any drama or any things like that. You get to be your own person. You get to have your own life. Set the intention that resolves tonight, for sure. Allison, busy all the time. Yeah, I hear that. I did that too. I did that for years, for sure. Patricia, really get this. Awesome. Maritza, one of those people keeping busy to avoid going with it and coming back to work, brought back again too. Yeah. So now's the time. Now is the time. Don't busy until an accident laid you up. Yes, and that is what happens to so many people is they either have some type of accident or they are an illness or they get laid off from their job or something gets created in their lives so that they actually have time to themselves, and then they still usually fight it for a while. But but you become stronger from it because you take the time to do the inner work. And Tracy, great, learning to observe without feeling like you need to get caught up in their reactions. Absolutely, changing those patterns. Christy, spending too much time on the phone some days. Yeah, it's an easy thing to do, right? It happens. Tracy, keeping way too busy. Yep. Not just having time for silence. Poppy, this is me. I do listen, and I'm busy even through lockdown. Yeah, Poppy, come on. This is your time. This is your time for your restful side to shine. Definitely time to change it. Yeah, thank y'all for sharing. Those are all perfect. Yeah. Great examples. Yeah, so we do know on some level what we're doing to avoid. So yeah, this is an opportunity to disrupt those cycles, to disrupt the things in your life that aren't healthy and that aren't serving you. And it really is, the liberation comes from the listening. That's where liberation comes in. So what we often do is we seek outside of ourselves. We want somebody else to fix us. We want somebody else to change their behavior or their thoughts or the way they're living. We want the whole world around us to change. When ultimately it's us going within and listening to ourselves, and that's how we liberate ourselves. That's how we free ourselves. Oh, Allison, yeah, I used to get colds to make me stop. Yeah, that's really common. People go, and then they actually feel relieved when they get sick because they can stay at home in bed for a week. Yeah, that's really, really common. And now the whole world's been too busy, but there's been a pause for sure. Patricia thought I'd resolved it after cancer, but back on the treadmills again. Yeah, so now's the time to really, really get it. So I think you can gain some awareness, so for me, there's a difference between knowledge and understanding. So we can know infinite amounts, but until we start to live it and embody it and kind of think and act in that way, we haven't really understood it yet. So now is a time for a much deeper understanding. We're creating lots of awareness and knowledge now. Now's the time for the embodiment. So you can ask for that to come in as well. Restful, how do you spell it? Yeah, Mags is slowed down. Mel struggling to relax. Yeah. So, so now's the time. If that's what is right for you right now. Because for some people, it's a time to really understand how to relax and be calm and be centered and to really just be with themselves. For some people, it's time to listen to that intuition about taking some action, about making some changes, about doing things differently. And it may be that there's a little bit of both in different ways for you. But your body and your mind, they're trying to help you recognize where your limitations are. They're trying to help show you. If you got the same repetitive thought over and over and over again, that's your key. That's what you need to look at. That is your key in to understanding what's going on a deeper level. So these repetitive thoughts or these feelings that you feel stuck in indicate what you are trying to learn or understand on a deeper level. So these are your indicators for evolution. So we get really pissed off with the repetitive thoughts. We get really pissed off with feeling angry or sad or frustrated or, whatever that one is that you really hate to feel. We get really upset with that. But that is your body and your mind saying loud and clear, here's the issue that you need to look at. So breathe that in for a moment. Oh, Patricia, we're going to talk about that in a second. How do I reach me? Yeah, for sure. That is the question. Oh, I can already feel some energy shifting. Good. So the a shiny big change for you. Allow more time to be at home, discover you love cooking, considering a complete career change. Awesome. See, so you've taken the time and you've explored and you've tried new things. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Yes. So then the next steps. I love it. So let's talk about that understanding or reaching me, that the true you, the deeper elements of you. So fear is not you. Anger and sadness is not you. Frustration and guilt and shame are not you. That's not who you really are on the deepest levels. The deepest levels of you really understand the truth of you and understand the truth of your calling and why you are here and the quality of life that you really want to live. And if you are stressed out all the time, that's not the quality of life you came here to live. If you're in shitty relationships where you're disrespected, where you're not heard, where you're not understood, that's not it. And there will be a part of you that is telling you, showing you, trying to indicate to you that it isn't right, that it isn't aligned for you. So negative emotions are some of your best guides if you listen to them, because they are trying to let you know that you feel heavy and stuck and stagnant and like crap because you are making choices that are hindering your happiness. Breathe that in for a minute. Because you know that when you're doing things that evoke joy and fun and happiness, like, you know, you're doing something great. And it might not be anything like, I mean, it can be blowing bubbles. I mean, how fun is that? But that may be you tapping into your inner innocence and playfulness and that, you know, that memory of fun. And that's your guide. So I'm not telling you to blow bubbles all day, every day. But it's about choosing things that evoke those kinds of reactions for you. If you love blowing bubbles, maybe not. I do. So we know the difference between positive and negative feelings. We can feel into that, and you can feel them pretty strongly if you really listen to them. And so, you know, that helps you to indicate, how am I expressing me? How am I tapping into me? How am I living something that is truly aligned for me? So feel into it is probably the best way to do it. You can get into your thoughts and things like that, and you can work through things. That's another way to do it for sure. But I think for most people, so many people have just disconnected from their feelings, and that's why we feel lost. That's why we feel lost and homeless, because we've stopped feeling or tried really hard to stop feeling. You never really stop feeling. You just put a lot of energy and effort and exhaust yourself trying not to feel anymore. So I think emotions, your feelings, are one of the best ways to do it, is to go into that and to listen to them, because that's your guidance and that's your wisdom that's there to help you. So let me know if that makes sense. Manti, having a rough day and someone triggered you and then you found this lab. Yeah, you're here. You're here at the right time. Oh, Allison, that's interesting. I've been to paradise, but I've never been to me. Interesting. But you know, you are paradise, really. Yeah, Roxanne. Negative emotions are a great indicator of drawing boundaries. Absolutely. I find that anger is a good one. If you feel angry, it's usually because you need to set a better boundary. Oh, Dawn, you love bubbles too. Great. So, I'm going to take us through a little meditation. And I'm going to take you into your body, then we'll go into the mind. And you're going to have an opportunity to let go of, you know, anything that's feeling stuck or repetitive, anything you're feeling trapped in. We'll do some healing around that. But you're also going to have an opportunity to listen. And when I say listen, that I mean witness. So that may mean that with your eyes closed, that you see information or you see scenarios or ways that you can create change. You may hear words or guidance within you. You may just feel what the next step is, or you may just have a knowing and awareness of what to do. So when I'm talking about listening to your body, I mean it in however you receive information. So this is going to be an opportunity for you to get insight and wisdom in your own words, in the way that you can understand it. so that you can start to make some different choices and make some different changes in your life. Because ultimately, it is you are the creator of your life. You are the one that's empowered to change it, and nobody else can do that for you. You got to do it for yourself. So if you're sitting back passively waiting for everything to change, I mean, if you wait long enough, maybe. Ugh, who wants to wait that long and suffer that long? So this is about you being empowered to make different choices. So you can set the intention that you gain some clarity on the choices that you can make that are going to make the biggest impact. I did a post today about making tiny little incremental changes. People think that's going to be good enough to have a massive shift in their life. Guess what? We gotta think bigger. If you want a big change, make some big changes. Don't do lots of little things and exhaust yourself and stretch your focus and get annoyed because you're putting so much thought and effort into making these little changes. Make like one big change and let it all shift. For real. It's time. Beth, I've been trying to extinguish negative feelings instead of seeing them as kindness. Yes, they don't just go away. You can't just stomp them out or cut them out or push them, or they don't do that. They've got a job to do. They're here to help you. They're working really hard to help you. Yeah, so Tracy, so you know this is the embodiment bit. So it's the understanding. It's the living it. And that's what the choosing is. When you choose it is when you live it. So you can know it's good for you to drink celery juice or whatever, insert whatever thing should go there. Until you do it, it doesn't matter. So choose it. You have to choose it. You got to choose it and you got to act. That's it. Bubbles the French kind, not the blowing kind. Oh yeah, I'm with you, Poppy. Champagne all the way. I like both. Ritzy, the last few months have been so fruitful, learning much about yourself, reading, cooking, loads of stuff. Really noticed all these times I found really challenging to just stand still without even a book, just for myself, just being, so that's the next step for you, is to really just allow yourself to do that. Have fun with it. It's kind of cool. Yeah. Emotions are amazing navigators. Absolutely. They're cool guides. Okay, so take a couple deep breaths. Let's go into this meditation, do some healing. So remember, we're not bypassing. They're creating a path for us. So take a deep breath. I want you to go into your body, into your amazing, awesome body that does so much for you. That helps you to create and live and experience life with other awesome humans. Breathe deep and go deep into your body. I want you to allow yourself to connect with the heaviest emotions that are there. The ones that are the most stuck. The ones that are the heaviest. The ones you really want to run away from. The ones you're so uncomfortable with that you really are fighting sitting in this right now. Just breathe. Recognize you can still breathe while sitting in the discomfort. You're still fine. They're not going to hurt you. They've been there for a long time. So this isn't anything new you're feeling. You're now just aware that you're feeling it. I want you to ask those emotions what positive messages they have for you. positive guidance do they have? And what positive action you could take right now? And really ask for positive messages. Not more doom and gloom, not more criticism. What are they trying to help you do that's positive? Is that anger telling you to have a conversation? Is that sadness encouraging you to create more love? That shame reminding you to look for all the gifts that you have and to live those gifts? Is that guilt trying to remind you of your integrity? What are the positive messages? Positive guidance, positive action. And as you listen to these feelings, notice yourself feeling lighter, freer, more open and spacious. Feel that liberation from within. And bring yourself up into your mind, all those thoughts, all those beliefs, all that energy. And just take a moment and breathe deep. It feels like the thoughts are racing or spinning, moving in circles. Just take a moment and breathe and sit with it. It's not going to hurt you. Doesn't do anything to harm you. It's already been happening. We're just helping you be aware of it. As you breathe, I want you to witness those thoughts slow down a bit so that they're manageable, so that you can understand them. And there will be common themes and threads. So notice what the common theme is of those thoughts. What are the fears that are motivating those thoughts? And you may be brought back down into your body with that, to any fear or emotion there. That's perfect. So feel those cycles of thoughts, that repetitive nature, start to change. Now that you're paying attention, now that you're listening. And breathe into that release. Feel your mind quieting down, calming down, feeling lighter and freer. Notice the change in the flow of your thoughts. How you can tune in and choose thoughts without being bombarded or pushed into them. So whatever those fears have been in those thoughts, allow yourself to recognize what you can change within yourself, what you can change within your life, that will take care of that. So if there's stress motivating those thoughts, what can you change in your life that would reduce the stress? If there's anger that's motivating those thoughts, what boundaries can you set that will relieve the anger? If sadness motivating those thoughts, what can you choose differently in your life that will change that sadness? If it's a fear of loneliness motivating those thoughts, how can you choose to connect? Recognize what's motivating those thoughts. And then recognize what you can choose differently. What can you learn in a different way, in a better way, in a healthier way? How can you evolve and transform without using pain or suffering to motivate you? Breathe deep. No more running away. No more avoiding. Recognize what it's like to be present with your body and with your mind while you deeply listen. Without feeling controlled or overwhelmed, without feeling powerless or weak. Feel into your joy, your peace, your calm, your happiness, your sense of fun, lightness of being. Allow those to guide you. Allow those feelings to be your guides. Allow joyful thoughts to guide you. Allow peaceful thoughts to guide you. What could change for you? What could be different? Allow yourself to witness what could unfold. Allow yourself to remember this connection, this feeling. And take a few nice deep breaths. Feel it within your physical body, within your mind. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. If you still want another few minutes to sit with it, that's fine. If anybody would like to share any insights or healing or information that came through, we would love to hear from you. It'd be very cool. So Tracy, so you're doing things, but they're not working. So that means it's time to choose new things. Because if you've tried things and it's not working, then that's not the answer. Yeah, so hopefully you got some new insight and some new information there about what you can do differently that will actually create an impact, that will actually have a change for you. Y'all already, the energy feels great. Amazing. Yes. So again, the key to liberation is listening. It is listening to yourself, listening to your body, listening to your mind, and asking for the wisdom, asking for what's going on and what positive messages you can gain from that, what positive wisdom, what positive action you can take. Because that's what makes a difference. That's what liberates us. That's what sets us free. We have all the answers within us. And you can get to those answers in really difficult, hard ways, or you can get to them in much lighter, much easier ways. And yeah, the choice is there. It really is there. So my hope is that you'll continue in the next week playing with this. Yeah, taking some time. And even if it's sitting for 5, 10, 20 minutes, stretch it out if you can. I know you can. To sitting with yourself and asking these questions. And actually a good time to do it is when you do feel triggered. And I know sometimes that feels like it might be the harder time to do it, but actually when you feel triggered, if you can sit in it and ask those questions, what are the positive messages? What's the positive action? What's the positive guidance? Then that is what is healing. That's what will keep you from feeling stuck in it or feeling like you want to run away from it or escape it because you don't like how it feels. Yeah, so I encourage you, if you have those moments of being triggered, do it then. And or if you've just got time each day to sit with yourself and have a scan and see what's going on, then do that. The more you get into that practice and that habit, the easier it is to understand yourself, the easier it is to make choices that align, the easier it is to make the healthy stuff happen for you. Down a lot of shattered mirrors in my mind. Cool. Reflecting about past pain, trauma, interesting. Realizing I was trying to fit the mirrors with sticky tape. Yeah, we don't need those. Really interesting. Just sleep them all out. Absolutely. Fun and lightness is good focus. Absolutely. Certainly reuse. Absolutely. Perfect. Love it. It feels like it needs to be a being thing, allowing other people to help me and not have to do all this. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, but that will also require probably some conversations and some changing of some boundaries, and that's the doing bit. So yeah, so allow yourself to get the guidance on how you can facilitate that and how you can allow that to happen in your life. Absolutely. Absolutely, Tracy. Thank you too, Emily. So inner child, confusing past, shame, guilt, anger, fear. As the goddess guidance you were looking for, interesting. Yeah, no, that's not goddess. None of that's goddess. Now I can see the levels of sovereignty, peace, and pleasure. That is goddess for sure. That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Emily. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, so keep with this, keep doing this. Make this a daily practice. Really, it'll change your life. People look for really complicated things or things outside of themselves, but really sitting with your own wisdom and understanding is the most powerful thing you can do. Thank you too, Tracy. So I will be back next week, Thursday at 8 p.m., talking a bit more about transformation. So in the meantime, if you've got questions or things, feel free to send them to me. You can send them as a private message through this page. If you're not wanting to share them in the group, that's absolutely fine. Mel drifting off again. Yeah, well, there's some deep healing going on, but yeah, if you can keep yourself awake, that'd be great. But I understand. Easier said than done sometimes. But you got the message to be yourself and trust yourself, and that is perfect. That is absolutely perfect. That is the message, definitely. Because and you know. Right. So thank you all so much for joining tonight. I'll be back in a week. Please be in touch with anything that comes up. Share any insights and things like that. That would be amazing. And oh yes, have a great week. That's right, it's Thursday. So I hope everyone has an awesome weekend and that you get some nice weather. That's what I'm praying for. Yes, have a wonderful, wonderful evening and weekend, and I will be in touch soon. Thank you all so much. Thank you.